Hey yo, and welcome to Politibrawl. My name is Brian, and Byron Donalds flips the script on this woke CNN hack who makes her regret ever bringing up her race-baiting nonsense. But before we dive in, I want to give a quick shout out to our great sponsors over at Colonial Metals Group. Even though Trump won the election, you still need to protect your wealth against the inflation that happened under the Biden-Harris administration. Now, let's dive in.
Reverend Al Sharpton criticizing President-elect Donald Trump for not nominating an African-American member for any cabinet position, I should say, yet. There are some spots to fill. Now, to be clear, he has picked some diverse candidates to be part of his overall team and also in his cabinet. But again, as of now, there's yet to be a Black American picked for a cabinet-level slot. Joining me now, one of Trump's top allies on the Hill, Republican Congressman Byron Donalds of Florida. Congressman, you have been a very vocal and effective surrogate for Trump and for his campaign and, frankly, the Republican Party. What is your response to this criticism?
I think it's criticism where people are upset that they still lost this election. And so if you were going to ask Reverend Al or anybody else in the Democrat Party, they're still licking their wounds about the fact that this did not work out the way that they thought it was going to. That being said, Donald Trump's cabinet is about people who are going to implement his agenda. And he's not done, by the way. You have Susie Wiles, the first woman ever to serve as chief of staff. You have Marco Rubio, a Cuban American who's going to serve as Secretary of State, representing America across the globe when it comes to foreign policy. You have Tulsi Gabbard going to be at DNI. So many others that are coming, and there's still slots to be filled. So I think everybody needs to pump the brakes and just wait and see what happens.
Do you think Democrats are putting form over substance?
Absolutely. Look, even if you look at how the Democrats filled the Joe Biden cabinet, they wanted to have a piece of every identity, but did they get the job done? Did they actually serve the interest of the American people? Because here's what I know. Whether you Black or Hispanic, if the border is unsecure, excuse me, Alejandro Mayorkas, if the border is unsecure, does that help people in their everyday lives? No, it does not. And so what Donald Trump's election is about is bringing competency and reality back to D.C. in the White House, making sure that the job gets done on behalf of the American people, regardless of their race, regardless of their religion, regardless of their creed.
Do you think that the current cabinet picks reflect the most competent implementers of Trump's policy across the board?
100%.
You have no pause for any of the people who are being raised, including some who are more controversial figures who've gotten a lot of the oxygen out of the room. Obviously, Matt Gaetz, a centerpiece of criticism because of the allegations. But you don't have any pause about anyone who's been chosen?
No, I don't, because either I know them directly or I've gotten a chance to know them throughout the last several months. All of them subscribe to everything that Donald Trump talked about on the campaign trail. They are mission-minded about getting the job done. Look at Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. wants to make America healthy again. He wants to go after additives in our food that are here in the United States, but not in any other country around the globe. You have suburban mothers who want to see that happen for their children. You have people who've had to deal with all kind of other health abnormalities, and at the time, and now what they're dealing with is going to other doctors, finding other alternatives to address those health issues, finding out it's what they're ingesting every single day. He's going to address that. You have somebody like Tulsi Gabbard, who has not been a fan of Forever Wars, which, by the way, if you're a Republican or a Democrat, you've not been a fan of Forever Wars. She's going to be advising him when it comes to national intelligence. These are the picks that he's put in who are going to actually help him implement his agenda. His success as president, this is the 47th president, is going to be on addressing all the concerns of the American people that obviously they had, because if they didn't have that, he wouldn't have the political mandate he's enjoying right now.
Attaboy, Byron. Attaboy. You know, there's actually a whole lot going on here. So let's start off with the tone of this video. It starts off with, well, there aren't too many people of color on this in this administration. And Byron Donalds immediately goes, oh, are you kidding me? And he lists off some people immediately, and we get to bring in two others into the new Department of Government Efficiency, someone from South Africa, Elon Musk, and someone who is definitely way more Indian descent than Kamala Harris, Vivek Ramaswamy. So you do have diversity in the White House, or in the cabinet, but is that important? I mean, every time I hear diversity, I think of, I almost think of in terms of Orwellian terms. Diversity is strength. No, diversity can be weakness. Diversity can be strength. It depends on what those diverse people bring to the table. This is why Martin Luther King Jr. got up and talked about caring about the content of the character and not the color of your skin, because it's your character that matters. And that's what's going to matter in this cabinet. There's a lot that's going to have to be cleaned up in D.C., and I don't think that there has been more of a groundswell of American voters in my lifetime. All right, and I'm technically right after Ross Perot ran in '92 under the Reform Party. So there is, after this election, a sort of a mandate going on where people are saying, you know what, this is enough. We're tired of the insanity. We have got to clean up this mess. Hey, y'all, I'm not exactly looking at retirement anytime soon, but my parents are, and friends of my parents are, and I'm sure either you or someone you know is looking at retirement and wondering, what do I do? How do I help prepare for this in this economy with this terrible president and with a vice president who basically coup d'etat him and is now looking to run for president herself? How do you protect against this? Well, simple. You go over to my friends at Colonial Metals Group. They quite literally have something called the Retirement Package Plan. This plan backs your wealth with gold and silver accounts. And furthermore, you will have direct access to these accounts. So you're not at the whims of Wall Street. You're not at the whims of inflation. You are in command of your own destiny. As a bonus, qualified applicants can receive up to $10,000 in free silver, plus a couple of other little goodies that they're going to package up for you, and you're going to be able to protect your wealth and your retirement. So go over to this link in the description below at colonialmetalsgroup.com or call this number 800-203-0422 and see how they can help you prepare for retirement today by backing your account with gold and silver. Don't delay your retirement, folks. Protect the money that you earned with Colonial Metals Group. They're here to help. That's what Donald Trump seems like he's wanting to do. That's why Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is on his team. That's why he was able to get Elon Musk. There is a shift going in American politics that I have not seen in my lifetime, that I don't think has been seen since FDR, when FDR built one of the largest and most successful coalitions in American presidential history. And a new one is being created right as we speak, where normal centrists, libertarian centrists, some libertarians on the right, even a handful of libertarians on the left are now joining the Trump coalition. And quite honestly, it's been an ideological capture, but that's another topic for another day. Ultimately, this cabinet represents the will of the American people to change the system, because the system is fundamentally flawed. It's arguably broken in some areas. And of course, Donalds comes out here and does give a nice little quip about Alejandro Mayorkas, who deserved to be impeached, and who, by the way, is allegedly seeking for a way out of his position without having legal ramifications from the Trump administration once things change hands in January. See, I'm not the kind that wants people like Mayorkas in jail. No. Mayorkas was doing a job. Now, granted, the Nuremberg trials would say differently, but when you are under orders from a duly elected president, or allegedly elected president, you fall under a unique category where if you don't do the job, someone else worse might do it. So this is a very tough situation to weigh, and I don't want to speak to that. And when it comes to arresting political enemies, same with the guys like Alvin Bragg. I don't want him arrested. I don't want Letitia James. I don't want Fani Willis arrested. Wouldn't mind seeing them disbarred for gross miscarriages of justice, but I don't want people made an example of, at least at these higher levels. Now, if there are people that are defying the Trump administration and going to Tom Homan and saying, we're not going to cooperate, then that's a different story altogether. But ultimately, what's going on here, I think the last thing I want to talk about is that there is a media narrative that is shifting, that is softening. CNN now realizes that it can't be as combative anymore. They have to let Trump supporters, and they have to let the Trump administration and his surrogates have their say. And if they don't do that, they run the risk of becoming completely irrelevant. And that's why you see so many of these news anchors asking a few tough questions, but letting people talk throughout the whole thing. There aren't the typical interruptions. You see it with Scott Jennings all the time. And ultimately, you're starting to see a media landscape that realizes we've messed up. We have bet on the wrong horse. We have been feeding garbage to rich white liberals and their kids, and they've been eating it, assuming that it's nutritious. Now they know that daddy's home, that RFK Jr. is going to start taking the garbage out of our food, and we have to start giving some people some real nourishment when it comes to our news. And so that's what's ultimately going on here. Because normally, about a year ago, Byron Donalds would have another panelist come up and try to shout him down and belittle him, and now he's getting these one-on-one interviews. So we are seeing a tectonic shift in our media narrative and our media landscape, and it is absolutely wonderful to see because it means that the media is starting to care about truth and reality again. And the truth and reality is the American people have spoken, and it's time to reform our federal government and start making our government good for its citizens again. Folks, my name is Brian. Hope you enjoyed that segment here on Politibrawl. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you on the next one. And until then, y'all have a good one.